I was about 10 years old when my father walked into our apartment in the Melrose Projects with his girlfriend. His wife, Lorena, my mother, was sitting on the living room floor with me and my younger sister, Beverly. "See," my dad said, "this is what you're supposed to look like." My father said to my mother, proudly showing off his other woman, well-dressed, light-skinned with ruby lips, her hair with the fashionably blonde streaks. "You need to look like this," he told my mother. "That's why you're not worth anything." My mom, hovering, laying there, did not object. Instead, she offered the other woman a cup of coffee. When the visit was over, my father and his girlfriend, I never forget her name, Faye from Fayetteville, North Carolina, got in his 1956 Buick, which we were never allowed to ride in, and drove off for a golfing vacation down south. I'm sure moving north to New York seemed exciting and promising when my parents moved there just after getting married in Selma, Alabama. By the time I was born in 1947 in New York Hospital in Manhattan, Dad already showed a daddy dearest kind of thing. Even a child knows that you're not supposed to hurt people like he hurt my mother. Even a child like me knew my father, James Carter Walker Sr., the man I was named after, I was a junior, of course, was a horrid person, a nasty guy. But there was little anyone could do. White people had money to get marriage counseling. There wasn't even such a thing as marriage counseling, I don't think, in my day. Black folks just had to try to survive. My first memory of being 3 or 4 years old and standing on a stool in the kitchen when we were living in Brooklyn before moving to the projects. My mother was boiling water on the stove to make some grits or tea or something, and I watched her. Then one of the legs on the stool broke. I reached up to grab hold of something and pulled a pot of hot water down onto me. I screamed and cried as the water scorched my left leg. I didn't go to the doctor or anything. White people had money for doctors. Black folks just had to try to survive. My leg still bears the scars. My dad, a man of small stature, only about 150 pounds, worked as a red-cap baggage handler at Penn Station. He must have experienced a demeaning feeling of servitude, of always having to smile and ask white folks, "Carry your bag, sir?" Grateful for a reply, "Thank you, sir," especially for a man who grew up in Alabama. Red caps were not unlike the Pullman porters on the trains themselves, who were so anonymous that passengers called every one of them George. They were not worthy of individual names. Still, being a red cap was one of the better jobs available to a black man at the time, with most of them getting their income from tips. The highlight of his life was when the Count Basie or Duke Ellington band came to the train station on their way in or out of town, and he handled their luggage. He would rave about them, how they dressed, how generous they were, giving him a huge $5 or $10 tip. Those were the few times I saw him happy, and those were among the few extended conversations I ever remember having with him. My mother had to fight to move us from Brooklyn and into the Melrose Projects in the South Bronx. The projects were a step up. They didn't take everybody. That's right, people. There was a waiting list to get into the ghetto. The neighborhood was mostly black and Puerto Rican, with a couple of white families too. They probably got lost and just couldn't find their way out. My father was a red cap for more than 33 years. Yet, he did not support us. My mother had to pay the rent, $53 a month, for a 3-bedroom apartment on the top floor of the 14-story housing project at 156th Street and Morris Avenue in the country's poorest ghetto. She worked 3 minimum wage jobs, during the day as a school cafeteria aide, and then the night shift at a printer where she collated pages for books. They don't even do that anymore. Despite all that labor, we were on and off welfare rolls and taking government handouts of cheese and powdered milk. I did not know what welfare was, but I could tell from the looks on the faces of the other people waiting in line for government assistance that it was very embarrassing. As a kid, I didn't know we were poor because everyone I knew was in the same boat.